Roadways Reading Green, which means they're running on time, but we're also talking greens on set today with Sheree Clark from Fork in the Road. She's always encouraging us to try new things in our life to make healthier choices. But we're not talking St. Patty's Day. It's the only time to bring green in our life, right, Sheree? There's other opportunities as well.
To fan Sheree with the green goddess.
Thank you.
These are some big old greens.
Look at the size. It's bigger than my head.
And that's not even as big as they get.
You know, what is this?
That is collards.
Oh, this is collards?
Collard greens, yes, yes, and that's what we're talking about today. See, I go down to farmer's market and people keep buying the same things. I see it because I go down there, I see the same people, and I say, what'd you get? And it's the same thing week after week. People, let's change.
What's the most common thing people are buying at farmer's market?
Right now, I'm seeing, let's see, well, asparagus was the big thing.
Because it was the beginning.
It was
new.
New. And now that we've reached the asparagus peak, I've seen cucumbers starting to peak out. I've seen some zucchini. Some of the vendors have that. So I've seen a lot of people like clamoring for that, but they're leaving behind some of the good stuff. So some of the good stuff is the leafy greens. And what we do, I think, is we get stuck in this rut of always getting spinach or buying iceberg lettuce at the grocery store. So let's talk about just a few other options that we could do for greens and why we'd want to.
Okay.
All right. So you started out with my fan. Thank you for that. Next
so
time,
are these native to our area? Whenever I think collard greens, I think something that I would enjoy more in the South.
In the South. That's because that's where they're known for their prep. And when they're prepared there, served there, and you're used to hearing them being served with bacon fat.
That's right.
Lots of butter.
That's when they're really good.
Yeah. You're not going to have that in my kitchen. But
you will in mine.
But you can grow collards, yes. And you can, they're also abundant all year round. You can buy them in the grocery store. What I like to do with collards, my favorite thing to do with them, is to slice off here. You can see that you can see that we've got, it's a pretty reedy stem. It's pretty thick.
It's the size of a pencil.
Yes, it is. And so you know that it's pretty reedy when you break it. And it makes that kind of noise. So you're probably not going to want to eat this I've seen you eat some ridiculous things that I brought here, but you wouldn't want to just start gnawing on that or you'd be chewing on it all day. Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to break down the fibers of the plant. You can do that by cooking, but you can also do that by marinating it in salt and lemon juice.
There you go.
Just let it sit, and then what happens?
How long does it have to sit in that?
It depends on your temperature and what your ratio is and how old. The older greens are the bigger ones, and they're tougher. Okay. They'll take longer to break down. So you'll slice off the stem, and then you'll let them sit, and then they break down. It could take just a couple hours. I just leave them overnight. I leave them in the fridge a couple days. They're not going to get ruined. They're not going. You can't overcook them. Right. So then they become pliable, and then just like at this end here, you can roll them up, and then you can see what we do with them. We have almost like a burrito.
Sure.
So you can stuff it with any kind of thing. That's going to take some prep work. That's a little bit more of it takes a little bit of work. And I recognize that. So some people aren't going to want to do that. So let's move up the scale from the more difficult to the less difficult in terms of eating. Next up on the scale would probably be kale. And I gave everybody a piece of kale. You're going to probably not want to chew on that again, Lou. It's not catnip, so I don't want to see you eating it.
Don't do it.
Not yet.
Now, where are we finding big leaves like this? When I go to the local grocery store, I'm not seeing huge leaves like this, like when I want to do kale chips or things like that.
Is it in the refrigerated area?
Yeah, it's in the produce section, yes. And Jackie, it's time of year and how long it's been trucked in and whatnot. At the farmer's market, this is, I bought at farmer's market
readily available
on Saturday, yep. And kale is another one of those things. It's the darling of the green world. Everybody loves kale.
Loves it.
Knows how good it is. So what I did is I made a kale salad. That's typically what you're going to want to do if you're not cooking it or steaming it. So that's a prepared kale salad. The thing with kale is it's just like collards. If you add a little acid to it or a little sodium salt,
you'll break the cell walls down.
You got it. And so it makes it more tender, and then it becomes chewable, and then it doesn't over crunch. You'll really enjoy it. It's still got some good consistency, some firmness. You know you're eating something fresh, but it's not going to get in your teeth and be something that you gnaw all darn day.
So what is the liquid that's in there?
That's a dressing. It's a vegan mayonnaise. You can make any kind of a dressing that you want to do.
It's really good.
And
what kind of nuts are in that too?
Those are sesame seeds, and we've also got some sunflower seeds in there.
That's a good combination.
Adds a nice little crunch, and then there's some shredded carrot, a little bit of red cabbage. easy combination to make. Any dressing that you like is going to eventually break down those walls if it's got an acid to it. Okay? So that's, again, preparing. Let's move up a little bit now, and we're still in the firm but a little bit more tender area. And what we've got here, I love these. This is Swiss
so
Chard.
pretty.
Isn't
Chard,
that beautiful?
that's Chard?
Yes, this is Chard. You might have a different color one there, Lou. This is rainbow chard, and we call it rainbow chard because you can see it. I've got yellow, you've got red, there's a white variation of it. Chard is one of those ones that now we can start to eat it without preparing it. If you break off a leaf of, and I won't throw you under the bus.
No, so it's much like lettuce then.
It's to me it's more like spinach. I think it's got very much a spinach consistency and taste. It's a little bit sweet.
Honestly, it didn't have any flavor at all.
You don't think it has flavor?
No.
Okay, well then,
doesn't.
well why don't you put a little hummus on there and then you'll get all kinds of flavor. My favorite thing to do with it is to eat it raw, shred it up, and make it into a salad. You can roll it again, and you could also cook it. So you cut off the stems, cook them first because they take longer, and then you wilt the greens.
Okay.
Moving up the scale, 2 more notches.
Okay, that's good with that.
Isn't that good? Romaine, pretty common. Most people know romaine. It's often used in a Caesar salad. This is how it comes. This is a little head of romaine, so it's a smaller, more tender
like
one.
that.
Break it off, put your hummus in there, just eat it like that. Simple, easy,
like a little
easy
lettuce cup.
peasy. Yes. And just as easy. Now this one I wanted you to see because so many people pass this by at the farmer's market.
For this one then.
This is bok choy.
Bok choy, really?
And this is baby bok choy. So, and oftentimes you'll see them really big, and I like them both ways. The little ones, like with all of the fruit and vegetable world, the little ones are more tender.
And bok choy, they use a lot in Oriental cooking.
They certainly do, and so you can cook it. It can be heated, but raw, it's great. It's good shredded. And remember, all of these are great juiced.
And is that the whole plant, or are we just focusing on the
You eat the whole
leaf?
thing.
You can eat the whole thing. On this
Yep,
one,
I put it in there.
Just on that more tender.
Think of it like
category.
celery. Just like you can eat
But more tender than celery.
Yes.
It's a lot more tender than celery, but it has the crunch of celery.
Yep, but you eat it like celery from the standpoint you can eat the greenery at the top. Some people like it, some people don't. I love it all.
Not stringy at all.
No. So
But people want to get more information about how to eat green.
Well, why don't you drop me an email at info@fork-road.com, or you can visit my website, www.fork-road.com. I want to know what kind of greenery you're eating. I want to see pictures of what you see at the farmer's market that you don't know what to do with.
I'm digging the bok choy.
Because you have great ideas for people. If they see something we're always encouraging people to ask, first of all.
Yes.
But if they need some inspiration besides the usual that they're always grabbing, you're there to help.
Right, and I do encourage you, like you said, Jackie, and ask the farmers, ask the people at the stand, what do you do with this? How do you make it? Do you like it? Do you eat it raw? Do you cook it? And if they don't have answers that you like, reach out to me and tell me what you learned.
That's
Perfect.
awesome. All right, here's how I'm going to reach out to you to have you reach over and give me another piece of bok choy.
Isn't that fabulous?
That's really
I
good
love
stuff,
this
Maynard.
stuff.
There you go.
All right, very good. Thank you, Sheree.
You're so welcome.
There it is, folks. Fork in the road. We will be back as we finish up our hummus and bok choy. This is really good.